all of you. My name is Fatima Aslam and I'm honored to be your MC for today's special event. To begin our program, I invite you to listen to the beautiful recitation of the Holy Quran by Hafiz Umair Abbas.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون صدق الله العظيم.
Now let us stand together for the national anthem of the United States and then Pakistan. Before introducing our guest this evening, let me tell you a little about the Ismaili Jamaat Khana and Center. The Shia Imami Ismaili Muslims, commonly known as the Ismailis, reside in over 35 countries around the globe. Led by His Highness the Aga Khan, a direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the Ismailis represent the second largest community within Shia Islam. Throughout their long history, the Ismaili community has embraced people from various cultural traditions, and this cultural diversity continues to enrich our community today. For Ismailis worldwide, the Jamaat Khana serves as the primary venue for both religious and social gatherings. This Ismaili Jamaat Khana and Center is one of such several sites across the country designed to incorporate spaces for spiritual contemplation, reflection, and cultural engagement. A key purpose of these centers is to promote understanding among diverse communities and faiths. When this Jamaat Khana and Center was inaugurated in 2002, His Highness the Aga Khan beautifully articulated its purpose. The center will be a place of peace, humility, reflection, and prayer. It will be a place of search and enlightenment. It will be a center that seeks to bond men and women of this pluralist country, replacing fragility in narrow spheres with the strength of a civilized society, bound together by a common destiny. It is already a symbol of the hopes of people who live through change and turbulence, and have ultimately found security and opportunity here in the United States, the majority of whom have chosen the state of Texas. It is now my privilege to invite Mr. Faisal Momin to deliver the welcome address. Faisal Momin serves as the president of the Ismaili Council for the Southwestern United States. In his role, President Faisal oversees the social governance of Ismaili Muslims residing in Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Vermont, College Station, and Corpus Christi. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Momin to the stage.
Thank you so much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. His Excellency Ambassador Rizwan Saeed Sheikh, Consul General Muhammad Aftab Chaudhry, Deputy Consul General Ashar Shahzad, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pakistan Literature Festival. On behalf of the Ismaili Council for Southwestern United States, it is my absolute honor to welcome you today to this vibrant gathering. I extend a warm welcome to His Excellency Ambassador Rizwan Saeed Sheikh. Ambassador Saab, your presence here today highlights your support for cultural exchange and the celebration of literary ties that bring our communities closer. I also wish to acknowledge Consul General Muhammad Aftab Chaudhry and Deputy Consul General. Your continued support, engagement with our community are invaluable, and I thank you for your friendship. Today we come together to celebrate the richness of Pakistan's literature, a festival that reflects our shared history, culture, and the power of storytelling. Through literature, we can explore the depth and diversity of Pakistan's culture, its historical narratives, and its contemporary voice. I am also very appreciative to Mr. Ghazanfar Hashmi for bringing this festival to life, and for the work that you have done for the literary arts. Thank you. I hope this festival inspires new ideas and sparks meaningful conversations. The Ismaili Jamaat Khanat Center, where we are here today, is more than just a place of prayer for Ismaili Muslims. It also serves as a community hub and a space for people from diverse backgrounds and faiths to come together. And therefore, we feel this is the perfect venue for your event today. Thank you for allowing us to share our Jamaat Khana with you and to host this remarkable festival. I invite you to immerse in the world of words, stories, and ideas that shape Pakistan's cultural landscape. Thank you all for being here. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you, Mr. Momin. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Ghazanfar Hashmi. Mr. Hashmi holds a PhD in public policy and serves as the president and CEO of the International Academy of Letters, a think tank dedicated to fostering public and cultural diplomacy through dialogue on culture, arts, current affairs, and literature. He is a renowned writer, public diplomacy expert, poet, researcher, translator, and the author of 5 books. His most recent work, titled A Nation Imprisoned in Myths, has been widely recognized as an important contribution by media outlets, intellectuals, think tanks, and academic circles. Additionally, Mr. Hashmi hosts a current affairs talk show called Dialogue on the ARY Digital Network. He can be credited as the founder of the Pakistani Literature Festival in North America, a testament to his commitment to promoting literary and cultural discourse. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ghazanfar Hashmi to the stage.
थैंक यू फातिमा। ख़वातीन हज़रात, आपने अंग्रेज़ी काफ़ी सुनी तो मैं उर्दू में बात करूँगा, इसलिए कि पाकिस्तान लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल है। मुअज़्ज़ज़ ख़वातीन हज़रात, मैं आप सबको शुमाली अमेरिका के पहले 2 रोज़ा पाकिस्तान लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल में खुश आमदीद कहता हूँ। मैं शुक्रगुजार हूँ इस्माइली काउंसिल फॉर साउथ वेस्टर्न USA کا جن کی پارٹنرشپ کی بدولت یہ کام ہونا ممکن ہو سکا۔ اسماعیلی کونسل ہمیشہ سے علم و ادب، کلچر اور تہذیب کو فروغ دینے میں ہمارے ادارے انٹرنیشنل اکیڈمی آف لیٹرز کی شراکت دار رہی ہے۔ میں نیشنل پریزیڈنٹ اسماعیلی کونسل الکریم علی دینا، نیشنل وائس پریزیڈنٹ سیرینا چرانیہ شریف، پریزیڈنٹ اسماعیلی کونسل فار ساؤتھ ویسٹرن یو ایس اے مسٹر فیصل مومی، مسٹر عمران بندے علی اور وحیدہ کارا ان کی پوری ٹیم کا سپاس گزار ہوں جنہوں نے دن رات میرے ساتھ کام کیا۔ میں ممنون ہوں بہت زیادہ ہز ایکسیلنسی رضوان سعید شیخ، ایمبیسڈر آف پاکستان کا، جنہوں نے فیسٹیول کی افتتاحی تقریب میں مہمان خصوصی بننے کی میری درخواست قبول کی اور خاص طور پر تشریف لائے ہیوسٹن میں۔ میں ان کا اس لیے بھی زیادہ شکر گزار ہوں کہ انہوں نے واشنگٹن میں پاکستانی سفیر کا چارج سنبھالنے سے پہلے ہی پاکستان میں میرے فیسٹیول میں آنے کا وعدہ کیا، جو انہوں نے آج نبھا دیا۔ آج ان کا یہاں آنا ان کی ادب، لفظ، کلچر اور کتاب سے کمٹمنٹ کا اعلان ہے۔ خواتین حضرات، میں اکثر سوچا کرتا تھا کہ پاکستان سے باہر رہ کر ہم اپنی مٹی، زبان، کلچر اور ادب سے کیسے جڑے رہ سکتے ہیں، یا ہم اپنی مٹی کو پے بیک کیسے کر سکتے ہیں۔ اگر بزنس مین پاکستان میں سرمایہ کاری کر کے یہ کام کر سکتا ہے، اگر ایک ایجوکیشنسٹ پاکستان میں تعلیم کے فروغ کے لیے کام کر سکتا ہے، اگر یہاں کا ڈاکٹر ہیلتھ کیئر کے شعبے میں اپنا رول پلے کر سکتا ہے، تو ایک دانشور اور ادیب اپنی تہذیب، کلچر، لفظ اور زبان سے جڑ کر اسے کلچرل اور پبلک ڈپلومیسی کے ہتھیار کے طور پر کیوں استعمال نہیں کر سکتا؟ ہم ایسے لوگ خواب دیکھتے ہیں اور پھر اس خواب کی تعبیر ڈھونڈنے میں عمریں طے دیتے ہیں۔ یہ سارے ادب آداب ہنر یوں ہی تو نہیں آ جاتے ہیں، عمریں طے دینی پڑتی ہیں ایک حرف رقم کرنے کے لیے۔ جناب افتخار عارف یاد آئے، میں نے بھی ایک خواب دیکھا، پاکستان کی تصویر کو خوبصورت بنانے کا خواب، اور پھر اس تصویر میں مختلف رنگ بھرنے کا خواب۔ مجھے اس خواب کی تکمیل کا راستہ صرف اور صرف دانش میں، لفظ میں اور قلم میں نظر آتا ہے، کتاب میں، نغمے میں، تحقیق میں اور مکالمے میں نظر آتا ہے، برداشت میں اور رواداری میں نظر آتا ہے۔ خواتین و حضرات، میرا پختہ یقین ہے کہ پیپل ٹو پیپل سفارتکاری، کلچرل اور پبلک ڈپلومیسی آفیشل یا روایتی یا حکومتی ڈپلومیسی سے کہیں زیادہ مؤثر ہتھیار ہے، اور یہی کام میرا ادارہ کئی برسوں سے سر انجام دے رہا ہے۔ اور آج شمالی امریکہ میں پہلے 2 روزہ پاکستانی لٹریچر فیسٹیول کا انعقاد اسی سلسلے کی ایک کڑی ہے۔ اس سے پہلے ہمارا ادارہ انٹرنیشنل کانفرنسز آن ڈپلومیسی فار ڈیولپمنٹ، ولسن سینٹر، اٹلانٹک کونسل اور دوسرے اداروں میں اینول پاکستان کانفرنس، ڈپلومیٹ سے مکالمے اور دوسرے ایونٹ سے پبلک ڈپلومیسی کی منازل طے کر چکا ہے۔ اس 2 روزہ پاکستان لٹریچر فیسٹیول میں آپ پاکستانی ادب، سفارتکاری، پاکستان پر مکالمہ، اسکریننگ آف ڈاکٹر اکبر ایس احمد پلے، ڈاکٹر نسیم اشرف صاحب کی کتاب، مشتاق احمد یوسفی بزبان عارف با حلیم، محفل مشاعرہ اور استاد رئیس خان کی وائلن پرفارمنس سے لطف اندوز ہوں گے۔ خواتین و حضرات، میں ہرگز یہ نہیں چاہتا کہ میرا نام امریکہ میں پاکستان لٹریچر فیسٹیول کے فاؤنڈر کے طور پر یاد رکھا ہے، لیکن میں یہ ضرور چاہتا ہوں کہ مجھے لفظ، خواب، قلم، مکالمے اور کلچر کو ڈپلومیسی کا ہتھیار بنا کر پاکستان کو دنیا کے نقشے پر ایک خوبصورت اور پرامن ملک بنانے کا خواب دیکھنے والے کے طور پر ضرور یاد رکھا ہے۔ جو دن پہ گزرتی ہے رقم کرتے رہیں گے، ہم پرورش لوح قلم کرتے رہیں گے۔ خواتین حضرات، مجھے اپنے ان دوستوں کا بھی شکریہ ادا کرنا ہے جنہوں نے اس بڑے کام میں میرا ساتھ دیا۔ ان میں قونصل جنرل آفتاب چودھری، جناب طاہر جاوید، जनाब सलमान रजाकी, जनाब नदीम मलिक, हमारे भाई फारूक सियर, अजहर चौधरी, डॉक्टर गुलजार नथानी, हमारे भाई बासित जलीली, अदील जैदी, जाम मजीद अख्तर और दूसरे दोस्त शामिल हैं। मुझे शुक्रिया अदा करना है हमारे मीडिया के उन दोस्तों का जो इस फेस्टिवल का हिस्सा रहेंगे। उनका भी शुक्रिया जिनमें जनाब कामरान जिलानी, सोबिया चीमा, ARY न्यूज़, शमीर सैयद साहब, जमीर सिद्दीकी और महमूद अहमद साहब। और मुझे सबसे ज़्यादा शुक्रिया के मुस्तहिक मेरे वो दोस्त हैं जो ऑर्गेनाइजिंग कमेटी का हिस्सा बने और हर वक्त मेरे साथ रहे। इनमें जनाब बशीर ए राजा, जनाब अब्दुल रहमान पटेल, मिस्टर इमादुद्दीन, मिस्टर महमूद अहमद, फ़हीम अखुंद, मजीद अख्तर, सैयदा मारिया बीबी, इमरान अशरफ और नाहिद महबूब शामिल हैं। इस प्रोग्राम में जिन लोगों ने सपोर्ट की उनमें किंग फ्यूल, लॉ फर्म ऑफ उमर ख्वाजा, टर्किश एयरलाइन, राइस लैंड हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम, कॉन्टिनेंस ट्रैवल, अखुंद यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ इनोवेटिव साइंसेज, फ़हीम अखुंद साहब उसके चांसलर हैं, यहाँ बैठे हैं, बोर्ड ऑफ जामिया कराची अलुमनी एसोसिएशन, मिकियन फाइनेंशियल LLC, अखुवत फाउंडेशन, ह्यूस्टन कराची सिस्टर सिटी एसोसिएशन, हेल्पिंग हैंड्स फॉर रिलीफ एंड डेवलपमेंट, अलीट इंडो पाक रेस्टोरेंट, राइट मीट मेडिकल बिलिंग LLC एंड अमेरिकन उर्दू TV। आप सबका बहुत शुक्रिया। और मैं इससे पहले कि हम एम्बेसडर साहब को बुलाएं, मैं अपनी जो टीम है, हमारे दोस्त मेरे साथ हैं, उनसे गुजारिश करता हूँ कि यहाँ आए ताकि आप सब लोग उन्हें देखें। वो चूँकि आगे प्रोग्राम का हिस्सा रहेंगे, आप उनकी अच्छी खूबसूरत शक्लें भी देखें और वो आपके साथ रहेंगे। आप सब तशरीफ लाइए जी। राय साहब आप भी आइए। इमरान अशरफ साहब, पटेल साहब, फ़हीम अखुंद साहब, मजीद अख्तर भाई, मारिया, नाहिद, इमादुद्दीन आइए, मजीद भाई किधर, समा किधर, समा मलिक। चलिए आप सबके लिए बहुत सारी तालियां।
Thank you, Mr. Hashmi. It is an honor to introduce our next distinguished guest, Mr. Rizwan Said Sheikh, the Ambassador of Pakistan to the United States of America. Ambassador Sheikh is a highly accomplished career diplomat, bringing over 3 decades of extensive experience in international relations and diplomacy. Before his current role, he served as Additional Foreign Secretary for the Middle East and Economic Diplomacy from December 2022 to August 2024. Prior to that, he was Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy of Pakistan in Washington, D.C. for over 4 years. Earlier in his career, Ambassador Sheikh was Joint Secretary at the National Security Division in Islamabad, where he played a key role in drafting Pakistan's first national security policy. He also spent approximately 5 years at the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, General Secretariat in Jeddah, serving as the Secretary General's spokesman and Executive Director of the OIC Independent Permanent Human Rights Commission. Ambassador Sheikh has significant experience in multilateral diplomacy, participating in negotiations on critical issues such as international trade, health, and human rights. He has represented Pakistan in over 20 multilateral negotiations on behalf of groups like the Non-Aligned Movement and G77 in China, notably chairing the G77 and China in Geneva in 2006. During his tenure as Pakistan's Deputy Permanent Representative to the OIC, he led negotiations that finalized the new OIC Charter during Pakistan's chairmanship in 2007 to 2008. Before joining the Foreign Service, Ambassador Sheikh began his career in banking. He is also recognized as a broadcaster and public speaker, having shared his insights at prestigious institutions such as Harvard, Tufts, and Emory. His participation in international forums, including the UN Human Rights Council and the Lisbon Forum, further underscores his commitment to advancing global dialogue and cooperation. Ambassador Rizwan Said Sheikh's diverse background and expertise make him a significant figure in Pakistan's diplomatic landscape. Please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you. Hassan Mohammed sir, President for Hashmi sir, Naseem Ashraf sir, Raza, my friend, Javed sir. So many faces, recognized faces I see in this gathering today. But let me thank Fatma for this introduction, and I thought it was somebody else, but and it reminds me of something that a Texan, a son of Texas soil, your former President of the United States, Lyndon B. Johnson, said when he was introduced in similar terms at a gathering. He said that this is the kind of introduction precisely that my mother would have liked and my father would have enjoyed. So mothers are basically a bit too fond of their children and think that they are the best. And fathers always believe that he's up to something and he's treating the world so perfectly. And I know. So thank you for this, and thank you in particular, President Hashmi sir, for inviting me to this prestigious gathering. I see so many familiar faces here. But yes, you're right. In principle, we had an agreement soon after I was designated as the next ambassador of the United States that I will be here and I will join this festival if, of course, there are no other pressing engagements in Washington. And since these days in Washington we have a bit of an electoral pause, so certainly there was this opportunity to come here, and I must say that it's this festival, of course, that has been the pivot around which this program has been built. But I must thank you, our Consul General Aftab Chaudhary and his team, for shaping a very good program. In Dallas, I spent the full day yesterday and had a number of meetings that were not just photo opportunities or handshakes. We sincerely and truly believe that they are going to be consequential in hopefully the months ahead. So literature, culture, tradition is something that Pakistan certainly is very, very rich in. We must be part of the G7 in that regard. If there were to be a G7 of cultural tradition, literary tradition, we are amongst the oldest people on earth. I have mentioned this previously as well, since I have been to Washington in my current incarnation, that it was at a particular gathering where certain concerns about Pakistan's security were raised. So I had to tell the audience when I was given a chance to speak or afforded the opportunity. I said, well, ladies and gentlemen, when we shifted our capital from Karachi to Islamabad in mid-60s or something, we didn't know at that point in time. Later we realized that 40 kilometers from Islamabad, we didn't know at that time, we decided that this is going to be our capital. 40 kilometers from Islamabad, the oldest remains of human history have been found in the Swan Valley, dating back to the Paleolithic age. So when it comes to security, our concerns are about security of Pakistan. We are the oldest people on earth and we are not going anywhere in a hurry. So we are confident of security, and the world should perhaps also feel confident with us because we have enough evidence of history to back it. And with this history, we have certainly gathered a lot of literary, cultural tradition through millennia, not just decades or centuries, millennia. And even since the inception of our independent existence over the past 7.5 decades, a little more, we have tried our best not only to retain that cultural legacy that that was bequeathed to us by our ancestors, but we have tried to enhance it, enrich it. It has taken different shapes. I mean, few names were already cited here. I see in the booklet that has been circulated for this meeting, names of poets like Ahmed Faraz, Faiz, Nasir Kazmi. We have grown up not only listening to their poetry, but cherishing it, understanding it, and also citing it even in our diplomatic interaction. At least I, for one, have been translating couplets when it mattered. I'm always reminded of a particular one from Parveen Shakir that is certainly significant when it comes to diplomatic interaction. And we find that if things are emerging suddenly, but there is a lot behind it. And that's a representative share, so as to say, so I'll compulsorily have to narrate it in Urdu. I could have done it in Urdu, but I asked the organizers, they said, please go in English. So, but this share I can translate it for you. Those who don't understand Urdu, I'm sure the better part of the audience does. She said, कि ग़म दौरान भी सीखे, ग़म जाना के चलन, ग़म दौरान भी सीखे, ग़म जाना के चलन, वही सोची हुई चालें, वही बेसाख्ता बन. That is something that in the diplomatic interaction you find. There is a lot behind it. At times it is very well rehearsed. वही सोची हुई चालें, वही बेसाख्ता बन. So really it's an honor for me to be in this gathering, because it reminds me of my very, very distant, almost ancient past. I was a broadcaster. I might have continued to the other electronic media variant of television, etc. But I suddenly realized, and I'm certain about it, that I'm not photogenic. So I didn't continue with that. But I have been a broadcaster, and though I am a Saraiki in terms of my mother tongue, both my parents are Saraiki. I'm from the Saraiki belt in Pakistan, Bahawalpur division, exactly. But you would find at times that my Urdu, at least dialect, is reasonable, and that is because of the training at the radio that I got from renowned poets even, because he was a drama writer at that time, like Zahur Nazar. So I have been trained by such good teachers or asatza. And that's a distant past, because foreign service, the diplomatic service, the diplomatic life leaves you good for nothing. But this one, that's the only thing. And again, it's something that we think that we can do, we're trying to do it, but it's always a race against a lot of challenges. And coming back to Washington is again a challenge. It's a particularly challenging situation. I was given to understand when I was leaving, but my asset here is, since I have been previously served here for about 4.5 years across 4 ambassadors as deputy, is that I am known to the community is known to me, and the 1 million strong Pakistani diaspora is my principal asset in this diplomatic endeavor that I'll be conducting over the next months and perhaps years to strengthen bilateral ties between our two countries. And our two countries have a history of crests and troughs, ups and downs, twists and turns in terms of our diplomatic relations. Yesterday night I was describing at a gathering something that's not my coinage. One of my predecessors said it, and it holds good for Pak-US relations, that in Pak-US relations, 7.5 decades actually of history since President Truman wrote a letter to the founder of our nation, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, on the 15th of August. That's how it is dated. So we started with relations with the United States at the very inception of our independent existence. And the description that one of my predecessors, an ambassador, gave to Pak-US relations, it holds good, is that there has never been a dull moment in Pak-US relations. So it's a good description, but the fact remains that each time our two countries have come together, it has been consequential not only for us as two countries and in terms of their bilateral relations, but also it has been significant for the broader world, our region, etc. Afghan war, Soviets, war against terrorism. Even now, even as we speak today, we are two mega countries of the world impacted in a major fashion by climate. So there's again a common cause that the nature or the march of history and civilization has afforded us. So there's every reason to partner and come together and work on these important themes going forward for the betterment of not only our two people, the people of our countries, but also for the larger good of the humanity and others on this planet. But coming back to literature, well, there is a lot that we have to share with the world. Storytelling was mentioned here. We have so many stories to tell. We may be identified somehow in this part of the world based on the very wealthy contributions of media as people who are basically very void of life, boring maybe to the extent of being fundamentalists. But we are a land that has a history of love stories like Soni Mahibal, Sasi Punnu, Heer Rancha, and amazing, folklore, amazing certainly, and fascinating literature, fascinating poetic tradition, fascinating prose. I mean, if somebody, it's very difficult, it is very difficult to translate Mushtaq Ahmad Yusfi Saab and his work into English because it carries so many meanings. I mean, there's one particular article in Abe and even in Zarguzasht which describes the flooding in Karachi. Depends on your mood, you can actually laugh at it or actually cry. So that's how rich in terms and loaded that language is, that Urdu is. I don't think it can be effectively translated in English or perhaps any other language of the world, but if it could be, people would understand what nuggets we have had in our history, how many people with strong, he was a philosopher basically by training and by his education, and turned out to be an amazing comic writer. And so, so many others like, Shafiqur Rahman, others, Ashfaq Ahmad. You name it, and we have that variety in our literature, and even the history of our literature, because these people draw a tradition from, again, rich poets like Ghalib and Mir and etc. Iqbal. Amazing poetry. I was telling an Iranian diplomat about 3 months back that our entire national anthem is in Persian. The only word of Urdu which is perhaps, I'm not sure if it is or it is not in Persian, but I think it is not in Persian, is ka. In Pak Sar Zameen Ka Nizam, the word ka is only the Urdu word there. But it's all in Persian. And he told me that and they call Allama Iqbal, they remember as Iqbal Lahori. So he said that Iqbal Lahori is so popular in Iran that you cannot even imagine. And his work and his poetry and his writings, and of course we do know, but we have not benefited from it, and we have not been able to publicize it as much as we should have, that his Persian segment of poetry is certainly fairly rich. If the Iranians vouch for it, we definitely have to take it. So there is a lot, Hashim Saab, in the different segments that I see. You're having Mushaira, there is Sadkan on the sidelines. Painters again, Pakistanis like Abdurrahman Shuktai, Sadkan, others, they are masters, Anamul Ahmed. And somehow, strangely, I find the originals more in Washington than anywhere else. I don't know how they have somehow been transported here, but I believe that I have seen more originals here in Washington DC in the United States than I have seen in Pakistan. So maybe we need to reach what lies beneath that, but it is a fact. So there is a lot that Pakistan has to share with the rest of the world. And in this society, which is a melting pot of cultures, traditions, people, there are people of different ancestries here. I have been emphasizing one thing since I have been here. And I do it with a bit of an evidence that last time I attended or I saw from a ringside seat an election in the Washington state, during my previous stay in Washington, was the 2016 election. And in that 2016 election, Bernie Sanders, as a candidate, 200 years after his ancestry migrated from Poland, was being referred to as a Polish American. So you people, your generations, are so recorded in American data and would be continued to be called as or referred to as Pakistani Americans. That's certainly a source of identity based on the rich history and tradition that every one of you, every one of us in this room who are Pakistanis or who have a Pakistani descent, ancestry, should feel proud of. And in no way, in no possible way, in no imaginable way, ever think of harming that identity based on any ethnic, political, sectional differences that we may have back home. We should be presenting a unified front here because that would continue to strengthen our identity. That would be the source of our, actually this should be a rallying point where people from Pakistan should come together, as is cliched, the old national song, is parcham ke saaye tale hum ek hain. So let's prove that. And let's defy any attempt or movement to divide us across any lines while we are here in the United States, because that is only going to harm the very national identity that should be a source of strength, pride, unity, and accomplishment in this society based on the Pakistani identity that everybody carries here, that we should not even imagine of harming it. In no possible way. Differences are there. Again, I mentioned last night at a similar gathering, all those who are married in this gathering know that differences are a fact of life. So certainly they are there. And you have to contend with, but you don't break up on that basis. So thank you. Thank you so much for affording me this opportunity. It is perhaps the umpteenth time that I have, as a professional diplomat, I'm particularly in love with my voice, that I've been handed over a check, that I'm out of time. Thank you so much. Count me in as a team member, and let's team up for Pakistan is my message. Thank you.